You're muted, Rick.
Thanks. Coming here to read for my friends, it's like a homecoming, and I can't tell you how much hearing you all share your heart, share your dreams, share your inspiration. It is such an antidote for me of the foolish, simple, mercantile world that we all walk around in. I won't take up any more time about setup, but I just want to say I thank you from the bottom of my heart that you come and share your work with us. So here we go. I'm going to I'm going to start, and I'm going to ask you to go with me just for a second. Trigger warning for people who've had addiction problems, but I want you to go with me, and I want you to take a deep breath and hold it in. This is a piece called Medicale Medicinale Marijuana. That first rough joint. Swollen, choking, the friendly circle, friends daring some dear dread danger, sharing a confidence from hand to hand, from lip to sip, even and balanced from hind to mind, caring, careful, measuring moments of miraculous Mary's hot breath. Leafy, dried, dusty brown, bush buds or leaves, the jagged reaching leaves, mind sees replace outminded signs, the interruptive stems, the blast berries, brown beetle seedling bombs, flowers, buds, golden bowing bundles of bright brain food, rude to break up stodgy draughts of thoughts. Leafy powder, pinch to pipe, that first forest time, sitting, friended in the woods, off the road, mere mute minutes from the madness, and then the giggles, gladness came, the raining gales of honest home-baked humor, cage-breaking, bar-bending, balloon bubbles of blue-gray, brain-shaking noise with joys. Did the sleeper awake? What did it take? How gradually the thoughts unclots, turn, global grandeur sees the scenes, unveiling prevailing schemes, larger circles concede indeed the creed replaced with grace. Papers, drapers, rappers, clappers, brain-beaching snappers, slaps, sainted sapient seekers, tricking treaters remove the tile task mask, sifting on an album book, the look as seeds tumble south. Please plant these striving lives to solid soils embrace, place bright roots reaching, consciousness uncontaining brain rockets from these short sections of fine leafy selections. Are your papers in order? Are they gummed? Are they flavored to match the merry march? Who has papers? Who has the catching march matches? Who can roll the droll tally troll? Merit badges for new ages, sages, skills among the circle's pride, and build brotherhood builder at the ashes, compliant complete. The rituals, victorious, glorious victuals, find the source, sift the course, separating, weeding seeds of need. The stems decamped ride, the mass explosion spasms reveal revelry in the deviltry of tiny shirt-stained holes. To knows what incense the fire's wires flow. Which tumbles of volcanic passion, humble Ishi crumble, spray, whose pitched part of the tribal circle clan. Who knows and who doesn't? Who knows the code, roads, the rules, tools, rolling papers and pipes, the types of pipes, the gassy glass, the gong and bong, the casual co-opted tobacco pipe, corncob, meerschaum, or the special antique clay. From bitty metal disguised to the bright plastic bong, from the recycled fruity station ordered orange to apple pipe to metal-tipped toilet paper tubed roll. The concert scene. We have brought jays to burn and yearning, jarring jays to share the dare, crackling on the firing line from hand to man to partial seatward chum and row-wise warder. No hoarder hides the wide, true lining, hidden lies subdued for you. The wide array, the tray of colors and textures, dark green, pale green, dry, crackling, sticky, brown, amber, reddish, pale green, leafy, pressed rock solid, powdery, the sticky, piney pitch, the itch, loose, baggy leaves, or rosy bud red with whiter trimmed delight. Papers, zigzag, flavored, strawberry, coconut, thin, fragile, heavy as canvas, the fine French, the topper is working stiff, old friend, 1.5, or just a serious and solitary one, to daring share the sunlight, repeals the stealing ash. Can you bowl and roll a joint that draws well and doesn't run? Even burning buds draw well without sending failing orange golden glitter hail and the debris that doesn't shower your sweetheart's knees with charming bejeweled sparks. The stem that starts and pokes like jokes through the paper draper roll to push unburned, protruding rube beyond the bastion of the sacred flame, trailing shrine its time. Though thou hast added flame and kisses, engirding, outcircling flames that untamed lurk inside, and as the rings of smoke surround, the blue-tinged ribbons curl, confound, and tease from dreamy eyes new vistas hipsters spy, or even ephemeral, cleverer rivers, the misty, wispy tree-lined budding bloom, the winding creeks of freaks, and gurgling wisps which tease and taunt, while gasping spouts of thrust past the trusty thought-carrying clouds, breaking up buds, long wispy tendrils of buddy bloom, dry clumps of brown and golden buds that break into crushed dust, buds that sticky clump and only prying fingers find, stingily reduce the bundle to pipe-fitting kindling, or a J for the day by the nickel bag that was a box of the three-finger bag, that memory lagged by the carefully measured blossom that tossed on the sacred bedside bounced the ounce, and when, on some teenage night, the frighty, mighty pound was pounced, fresh-wrapped from some smuggler's catch, they dearly dissected that dense delight, and when pressed for shipment, these victorious blooms of heaven's bounty blossoms begin when unconfined to teach and reach your salient mind, and then, beyond whose gradient of radiant, defining, silent power trains your teaching, reaching brain to stretch out past outposts of common drumming, mind the climb, where grander, richer vistas, undefined, can catch and tease the toes of tiny thoughts, to lots of gaining gales of unveiling rafter off, and having laughed that last loss of littered dross, the little lie of alone. Oh, call the sacred circle nigh, and bell bright, bearing brain berries, fairies, the music march, and catch the fletching fight. Incense folds the rolls of blue-smoked wings my chariot holds to heaven high, or treasured seaside tidal wash. Medicale, medicinale, marijuana. Maybe some of you could conjure scenes similar. Okay. Now I'm going to reach the past. I've been an environmental activist for a long time, and sometimes we have victories, sometimes there's setbacks. This is one that was monstrous, and I captured it this way. I called it Love Canal. Love Canal. Love Canal. Wait a while. Feed the coins into the slot. People matter? Probably not. Big bucks sing and politicians fling the cares away. Toxics play beneath your feet. Ain't it neat? With your breath to your death. Toxics bleed from stream to sea. People count? Small amount. Chemical companies, high on profits up, with politician in corner pocket cups, ask their favorite scientists why. The rain has blackened in the sky. Why air kills birds, and hasty words can cancel kill the federal bill. The bureaucrats swill. But it's okay. They'll go away. Noisy people become dead people fast enough. Ooh, nasty cough. Feed the coins into the slot. People matter? Probably not. Sure, the cost of caring's high while rusty drums pile to the sky and renegade truckers dump the mix of dirty tricks on unsuspecting victim Hicks. Really some poor fool's backyard. Not to worry, though. Big money's wad's got the nod. It won't reflect on ledger sheet. Chromosomal change or brains deranged. Change the claims reassure and same. Some must die for stocks to fly. Fix fertilizer from hand to eye. Breaking children, crying crowds, point to laws that safely print and grind your eyes into a squint. You'll find it hides in the smallest print. It's all okay. So go away. People matter? Probably not. 50-gallon drums will melt. Is that the funky thing we smelt? Wells with fevers neath their belts. Unwells will catch you with your jeans dropped down unless you walk above the ground and your drinking water's never been found to meet the need of chemistry. It's safe. You'll bury the bones in your neighbor's escape. You needn't relate. It's fate. Love Canal is far away from here from us today. Don't petition. Don't even pray. Love Canal? Wait a while. Feed the coins into the slot. People matter? Surely taught. Love Canal. Now, I tend to try to bring you, while I talk about serious matters, I do try to generally stay on the positive side of things. But since I call you my friends, and many of you know something of my heart, I'm going to share a poem that I share very, very rarely. It's called Dad, Farewell. And again, trigger warning to those who are troubled by thoughts of worthlessness or suicide. Dad, all of what is left is the laughter. That's all, in fact, we're ever after. He walked into a funeral home to unlock and slowly, slyly add to their rolling stock. He purchased a cupboard that he would never see recovered, knowing we would visit and thereby a certain potent portion illicit. He had stayed and watched her slowly die. He must have, through those long, lonely hours, wondered, why? His mom and dad and all those Love Street brothers and sisters that he once had, severed. None resisted. Cancer took them all and each, loaded them out one by one, stole them like a thief, unmade them like a broken bed. Now bleached and beached, cancer too would take Ed and Joe. His brother Harry slowly died. Dottie, Dorth, his only wife, when he cried, he watched her fade from life. Slowly, slowly away to hide. And there in their final home they made. And then that last lonely solo parade, resting, waiting, attended by all those nurses sending, bending. And as he once more stood by that open door, watching cancer take its course, until one sunny day resolved, just one more delicious, malicious corpse would fall. Death came and stole his wife away, little by little, right from her silent, quiet middle. He watched her fade day by day, its heavy cost, the loss, delayed by only months, then weeks, then displayed, then days, till only silence, no matter, and then silence was what to say. And although you might, despite even now, kneel down and pray, he purchased the service. He stood there, he took out his wallet, and he was calmly nervous. He looked round at the trees and the sky. He probably wondered why. He paid the ticket, then went out into the sunny parking lot, took out his loaded gun and clicked it. He paid the cost. He bore the loss, refused to be used to be a bother, like his wife and like his brother. Nothing left to chance, no son or brother's glance. He invited death to dance. He pulled the trigger, took his chance. That skin cancer diagnosis near he noticed. He had seen a neighbor, a friend, go quiet and painfully right through this to the end. The skin, the eye, the brain, the brutal pain, in silence, no warrior's death attained. Then slowly, death would arrive, doctors shrouded against each step contrived, drifting and slowly go insane, undoubted. The lights flicker out. He'd watched his wife of 40 years fall. He'd seen his heroic brother, after all those years, in tears crawl, dragged around, a burden toted. That wasn't for him. He chose, full-throated. He would not fade or waste away. He had a voice. He made a choice. He said his farewells, set up his perch where his ashes fell, right there in the driveway, outside death's front door. Undisguised, he put gun to temple and said no more. My father committed suicide, and many blamed him. Many called him weak. I understood his choice. But I tell you, after all that was left is the laughter. He had a merry heart. And then, for those of you that have had enough, this is called The Boy with the Giant Fork, a fable. The Boy with the Giant Fork. You pick up this fork, it's the size of a tree. You might lift it up with the help of some friends, maybe 1, 2, or 3. To dig with this sucker is a real operation. It keeps growing like this, it might take the whole nation. He knew right away this fork was getting too big. Why, if you crowded him on it, you could lift a whole flock of pigs. He wasn't sure anymore why he wished for a big fork. Besides, when it came with it clanging down for dinner, this ginormous fork was unwieldy. It didn't make him feel like the winner. And when he tried to use it, the peas rattled right off the end of this gigantic fork, and then swinging it around, he damn near jabbed his old friend Mork. Then there's the time it nearly knocked down the chandelier, knocked over the designer recliner upside down, its 3 wheels spinning in air. He knocked over his soup and flicked that roast chicken, knocked the whole damn thing over till it rolled and rolled all the way back to the kitchen. The fork team spun it around before he was ready. It knocked over the sauce all over the table, a big old mess with the gravy. Then the tines got tangled in the bun of blue-haired Aunt Maisie. Tommy always thought his proportions quite lean, but if he had a bigger digger fork with a highly polished handle, tines, razor-sharp and keen, maybe then he could scoop it up into mountainous heaps, pile it all higher and higher and sauce it over quite deep. Then, my friend, maybe then he'd get enough. His fuzzy puppy looked on, shrugged, turned away, and just coughed. One night, he went out back to wish on a star, but if the sky wasn't polluted, he'd know right where they are. He hopped down off the porch and ran out in the yard. It wasn't too tough. It wasn't too hard. But as long as he made it over those thorny rose bushes, sometimes they tore his cuffs or stabbed him in the tuchus. Then, all of a sudden, the arcing glare from over the factory roof headed right down where he was. He was stunned. He just stood there and stared. He called out to his brother. "Hey, come here," he called Sid. Sid didn't answer. He nearly never did. He was exactly not that kind of kid. He was watching TV back in his room. He'd spun the dial in the dark. You could hardly see in that gloom. He was like a mushroom. His face had the glow of that little TV. He was quiet as a ghost. Sid in the dark. Sid was not much of a host, you see. It might surprise you, but it don't surprise me. I knew Sid was proud of his little black and white TV. He rarely left his room. That TV was his world. That was his way of participating. He never played games with the boys or the girls. His entire imagination was caught up in that box. He didn't hunt tigers. He'd never seen a fox. But he knew every channel. He knew each silly show. He thought of nothing else. It was his whole world, don't you know? That bright glowing orb coming out of the sky, he didn't know when, he didn't know why. He could hear it, he sensed it, he knew it was his friend. He really wasn't sure now how this would all end. And when the damn thing plunked down, it landed right at his feet. It was glowing and sputtering. My God, it was neat. It was too hot to handle. Of that he was sure. So he got out his fork. He would take it inside. He'd have meteor du jour and he'd show it to Clyde. He'd show it to Mary. He'd show it to Sid. They'd know what to do, show it or run it. And somewhere play dead. He gingerly stabbed it with his fork. He had an idea he thought that might work. He'd balance that glowing rock on his fork. He sure wouldn't touch it. He wasn't that kind of jerk. He'd seen monster movies. He knew what could start. But he reached out with his fork and nearly swallowed his heart. That's the end of part 1. And now, without any further delay, part 2. The Boy with the Giant Fork, part 2. With all those brothers and sisters, too, young Master Tom felt he was kind of in a zoo. No matter what, no matter where, he never thought he'd get his lawful share. Whether in a high chair or out at a picnic, he never thought he got his share. He found that more than sickening. Even at school, in the cafeteria, it damn near drove him mad into a kind of special frenzy of hysteria. He was a slow, picky eater, that much was true. He could picture himself sometime like an animal crouching, even caged in a zoo. They'd toss in a small proportion on the floor of his cage. It never seemed enough. It put him in a rage. And when he finally looked up after clearing his plate, every other bowl and plate was empty. It put him in a state. At night, he would dream of a special dinner when he was in charge, when he was the winner. He'd use it on turtle meat. He'd use it on fish. He'd use it on every kind of spicy gall darn dish, if that was his wish. He'd use it on cake. He'd use it on jello. Why, he'd use it on monkey meat. He was just that kind of fellow. He'd reach across the table to fill his plate to overflowing. He'd spear every kind of food before anyone was even knowing. He'd snatch the olives. He'd spear potatoes. He'd reach across the whole dining room with that big old fork if he was able. He'd use it on breakfast. He'd use it on dessert. By God, he'd have it always by his side. It would do his work. Heck, you could ask Sid or even Clyde. It would be remarkable, the food that he'd gather. He could spear it from across the room. He'd no longer need a ladder. Why, he'd build a mountain over his plate, and everyone would know that he was real great. He'd never again go hungry, not on Thursday, Friday, or even Monday. Did it concern him at all that he might get more than his share, or that after all those piles of food he might need a stronger chair? Would he ever have enough? Did enough have any meaning, even after he piled his plate all the way up to the ceiling? Boy with the Giant Fork, Part 3. He flaunted his work with that gold-plated taunt. He'd veer far from endangered Tom. That tippy-top he just leered from that last jeering jot. From the top of his wand, he waved the engraved astrolabe of his need. It nearly transcended the beard of his greed. He teamed, waved that fork, a Herculean task. Soon the whole team was caught up in the dream. The whole harvest natch. It just made part of the catch. Soon the whole fleet would hardly compete, and the fork stood tall in the sky to poke a peripatetic cyclops right in the eye. When it waved near the shore right back at you, the whole ocean roared. The grandest plate left behind like some kind of refined or esoteric design, it broke up a galaxy of stars right there where it was. The earth herself stuck on the tines like the finest design on the shelf. Old Tom was finally released from that transcendent feast. He knew just how much was enough. His puppy shrugged on the rug at his feet. It was finally complete. The fork spun off into space. It was never, how clever, replaced. Tom changed to a spoon, the clan's buffoon, 'cause in his enlightened, no longer frightened life, there was no room for that fork and all that strife. His puppy smiled, and it was delighted. It was all finally righted. Good night. The end of The Boy with the Giant Fork. Okay. Lost a little down here. Okay. And then, as we come down to the last roundup, I want to leave you with this couple thoughts. This is a real early one of mine. It's called There Is No Ultimate Question. If there was an ultimate question, there could have been an end to time's double bend. That spiral helix of when could hardly ever again expose to its friends what its hopes or its plans, or reveal what it really intends. No equation ever stops. It hops on and on and on, namelessly, ceaselessly, beating, tail-chasing headaches, the heartaches created by those even counting on toes could hardly suppress just one end of a question of morals. The floral's lament. What of the end of events? No ceasing, increasing the doubts in cautious amounts, uncertainty rising, a constant career. His manners, while wheedling, would blow in your ear to suggest you insist on when? New horizons of fame and unlimited gain. Even infinity gets tired, hires a cab, calls from its prefab, close its manicured lawn with its large cement fawn. How tacky of infinity! How shamelessly, heedlessly, breaking bounds of good taste! How misbegotten on fate! He was more than a little late. But that last question never bothered coming, because it's always next. Bothered. But after living so long to next to never to, the ultimate question. And then, coming down that last roundup, I'm going to invite you to dine with me for just a moment on one of my favorite fruits, the broccoli. And I call this my tribute to broccoli, broccoli and ode. I love those tiny trees of little old broccoli. I see as gargantua, or perhaps Paul Bunyan so substantia, devouring a forest hand over hand, barely leaving anything but the gritty, dirty sand. Broccoli and soup leaves me droop. And baked, I think, a dastardly mistake. Breaking those tiny branches into kindling makes me hungry, especially when the supply in the fridge is dwindling. I will, on occasion, with a little persuasion, sprinkle some across a salad, and then sing out my praises in a ballad. But make mine steamed, the very stuff of dreams. Add a drizzle of salty butter, or a pond of cheddar's even better. Just send that broccoli my way by dusty road or main highway. Pass me another, will you, brother? And then last but not least, as we approach solstice, I want to share with you a little invocation that I was asked to draft for some marvelous sorcerers and witches, people very dear to my heart. In this solar invocation, I want you to picture the sun opening in your heart, the light growing and glowing and glowing until out of your fingers, shining from your eyes, leaking out from your toes. My gosh, even your nose. This is called Follow Me, My Golden Bees. Up, up, and out of our glowing geometric home, our perfect living comb, to every bee's dream, our theme and gentle fanned rest. Up, up, and out into the sacred sun-drenched garden, every aromatic flower's face warmed by your gentle golden touch. See the arcing blessed rays, how each reachy beam buffets with its gentle caress every moment of life's growing flight. How every flower shine and shimmers with that very moment of your warm and generous blessings' heat. How rich the velvet golden fire showers her blessings and casts its spell of warm sympathy that the dear plants so thirsty drink and endear moment by moment into their every fiber and being. Shine on my sparkling silvered wings as thy embracing warmth that does guide and bless all of the earth with its gentle, loving breath. Light our way with your warm, buttery blessing, for it's only by thy dancing rainbowed light that we have found our path, illumined across the delirious, scented garden, and then diving deep into the very heart of heaven's blossom. Each beating, magnetic moment of your star fire's pulsating embrace thrills our very blood with your infinite golden reach. Deep will I dive into each flower's living heart while they dress me and dance me in their sweetness perfume. Your generous bounty on us all below warms us and delights every moment of our dazzling, bejeweled journey's path. Finding our way across thy beneficent, begarlanded glory, rich with your weighty golden handiwork, grant us, we busy, buzzing toilers, grant us that sweet sustenance from your scented, intoxicating, and so generous beam's great bounty. Diving deep from our arcing, soaring path down into the deeply flowering center, guided ever by those all-reaching, interpenetrating beams. Each iridescent beating flower's heart pulses in an intoxicating bounty of ambered sweet beads of dangerous delight. Cover us in your fine powdered glory as we drink in those pretty flower fountains, nourished ever from your ever streaming, great, generous heart. I fairly swoon and sway. So bedecked am I from your amorous, scented embrace. Carry we home our golden booty from the very shining flower heart. Back, back to our dearest sweet golden glowy homes. Deliver we out our charge of grace. Pour we out each journey's bounty, lifted from our labors in your scented and richly favored flute. Sunbeam guided, every flying moment by your intimate and distant reaches, fiery, licking power. Our great home, but a geometric shadow of your golden dancing bounty. Our innermost strength only flows from your vital power's truth. No flower shining glory except through your showering glory spent. We return, bedecked, rich, and happily burdened by your gracious garden's bounty, so soaring guided and gilded by the great sun's powerful blessing. O great and golden sun, whose unblinking power guides and warms our flighty path, and ever richly rains her golden blessing on every garden shining face. Light, O ever light thou our airy road, and be forever our endless fountain of starry grace. In starfire we live, in starfire we are warmed, in starfire we are fed, in starfire we are ever guided. Thank you. It has been my honor to share these moments with you. Namaskar.
Namaskar, indeed. Thank you, Rick. It's funny, I wanted to request that poem, which I heard the first time I ever sat with you and you interviewed me on Poets of the East. And because I had read something deeply spiritual, you responded in kind by reading that. And have always marveled at the lyrical, long form grace, totally non cliche, uh, delightful unfolding of the light of that poem. Uh, Friends, let's unmute our mics and unstopper our hearts. Please.
Hooray!
Yeah, I think
Thank you,
Three
Rick.
we
cheers
have
for Rick. Hip, hip,
a
hooray.
picture with you, Rick,
Hip, hip,
seeing
hooray.
another side of
Hip,
Rick
hip,
Spisak.
hooray.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, dear friends. Thank you from the
I
bottom of
love
my
your
heart.
work, Rick. I always do.
And with that, I have to shoot off. I have an
Okay.
appointment with England. Then I
Take
have to
care.
sink a couple of beers first to get
Enjoy
into
the
the
game.
mood.
Go England.
Cheers, yeah.
Nice.
Bye, folks. Good
Wow.
night.
Good night. Yes, Rick,
Thank you, Rick.
marvelous. Intoxicating words, the infinite golden reach of the light in that poem. I love that. But you know what, guys? Even infinity gets tired. You need to pause for a moment,
Yeah.
refresh your glass, toss a salad, sing a ballad, you know, whatever you might want to do. Uh, so we'll pause for just a couple minutes and then we will reconvene. How about at the 55 mark? Rick, thank you so much for assuaging our hearts. Okay, we'll be right back.
Hmm.
Brilliant set, brave Sir Rick. I have to stop the recording one sec.